G'day guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be looking through my pack of what I take when I go hiking, all the gear that I currently use and some gear that I've used in the past. Stay tuned. Alright, so the first bit of gear is the Denali Kakadu. It's a 2-man tent. This is the one that I use predominantly when I'm hiking if I take a tent, just because it's a bit more spacious. It is quite a lot heavier than my other tents. I don't know exactly, but I reckon it's over 2 kilos. And the poles that come with it don't actually fit inside the bag, and so I've had to strap them on the outside. They came in the bag. For some reason I couldn't get them back in there, so I just chucked them on the outside. It's a good tent. I've had it in heavy rain and it's held up fine. It hasn't leaked, I haven't gotten wet on the inside, so it's a good tent on the cheaper side. So if you're looking for a good budget tent, Denali does hold up pretty well, but it isn't that lightweight like compared to some other hiking tents that you can get. The other tent that I have is the Dune Sentry Bivvy, and that's a 1-man, so you can see that it's just gotten absolutely annihilated from rocks and that sort of thing as it's dragged over them. 1-man coffin style tent, super lightweight, so comparatively to the Denali 2-man, this one's super lightweight, so you barely notice on your pack. But because it doesn't have a fly or anything, it's just the one layer, it does get condensation pretty bad. So one time, actually it was the first time I took it out, and I was camped on top of a rock peak, and just all through the night I was getting drops of water on me because the condensation was building up on top of the tent and then just dropping straight down to where I was sleeping. So that's a thing that's not so great about it. But I mean, if you're not camping on like quite up high where you're gonna get lots of moisture in the air, then it's good. And I ended up just getting a lightweight little hammock thing that's quite thin, and so I would just pull that over the top and that would sort the issue, giving it the 2 layers. But super lightweight as well. That's another good tent. I haven't used that one as much though because it's not as comfortable, but also I don't take tents that often. What I do mostly take is this DD Hammocks Tarp, 3 meters by 3 meters. Comes with 19 different attachment points. I like taking this because it's super light, barely weighs anything. It's actually not the lightweight version, like they have the ultralight one. It's just a normal, but compared to the tent, super light and super easy to set up. Just doing like a normal like Ganya style shelter, super easy when you're camping and barely takes any effort at all. Yeah, so I really like using the tarp. I prefer it to the tents, especially in the warm months. In winter, you definitely miss out on that extra insulation. Alright, so next up is my sleeping gear. I'll start off with the Cedar Summit mat that I use. It's the Cedar Summit Camp self-inflating mat. I haven't had this one for that long. I got it on sale for pretty good deals, only 80 bucks. Up until getting this one, purchasing this one, I've just been using the Denali standard, it's called Standard Trek or something, and that's done me well in a lot of good hikes. But it, you know, you're buying the cheaper Denali stuff, you end up with things like it doesn't have an R value, so I don't even know if it's insulated, so the ground can get pretty cold underneath you. You know, just bit wear and tear generally, like after a while. Like some people I know that like the nozzles that let out the air have gotten a bit dodgy, and so it leaks and stuff like that. So I thought while this was on sale, I'll buy this, and it's got an R value of 4.2, which means it's super warm. So I used this on my most recent hike that I did, where I was sleeping just straight up under the tarp, and this kept my back so warm compared to the other mat that I have, the Denali one that I've used. That did good as well. Like I used that in the Blue Mountains overnight, and I stayed warm enough next to the fire. But yeah, my back just gets pretty cold because the ground, yeah, it's not insulated from the ground. But this one is great. This one's super good. It's got this really good valve system as well, where you can flip it around for either inflating it or deflating it, and it traps the air either way, so it's got like the one way. Or you can pull it open, just have it completely open, but it inflates well. Super comfy, super warm. Next bit of gear is my sleeping bag that I use, right? This one's Denali as well. It's the Denali Lite 50. And so it is super lightweight. It's only 870 grams. So for what it's worth, at least, it's super light. It's kind of like that entry level hiking stuff. And but the downside is it is comfort 10. So super light, but also it doesn't keep you that warm. I've used this on pretty much every hike I've done so far. I've had it for a few years now. But yeah, it definitely keeps you not that warm or it doesn't keep you that warm in the colder months. There's been quite a lot of hikes that I've used it and I've been on the colder side, especially most memorable one is probably down in the Buttawangs National Park. Oh no, is it National Park? The Wilderness area, whatever it is. And me and a mate slept on top of the castle, and I was using this and the Dune Bivvy and the Denali standard Trek mat, which isn't insulated, and this is comfort 10, and it was pretty much in the middle of winter, and it got very cold. I don't think I slept very much throughout the night, just constantly tossing and turning, wearing all my clothes and trying to keep my hands, as warm as I could in my armpits and stuff like that. So it's a great sleeping bag for warmer months, like in summer, great. But as soon as it's those colder times of the year, it probably isn't the greatest. I have paired it with this Denali Cotton Sleeping Bag liner, which raises the temperature by maybe like, I don't know, 1 degree or something like that. I don't remember what they say specifically, but it does make it a little bit warmer. But yeah, not enough to really get by in the winter months here. It's a bit too cold, especially under the tarp. If you're in a tent, maybe passable. But yeah, under that tarp, as soon as you get down to, even the last hike I did where I was, like it probably only got down to like 6 degrees or something. But when this is comfort 10 and you're out in the open and it's 6 degrees, it definitely gets on the chillier side. Last piece of sleeping gear that I use is, I use it sometimes, is just a Denali hiking pillow. Nothing really special about it, self-inflating. Sometimes I prefer to just use my bag instead, or some clothes or something, because I'm usually a side sleeper and it can just move a lot. Yeah, so I don't know, it does the job, but sometimes I prefer not to use it. Alright, so first up I'll talk you through my old backpack. This is an Adventureridge 45 litre hiking backpack, so from Audi. I actually got this at an op shop for $10 when I first started out hiking. I think that the little price thing is actually still on it somewhere. I don't think I ever cut it off. Somewhere around here. This did me really well for the first few years of hiking. But yeah, it's an Audi backpack, so you can imagine like you're getting what you pay for. Has some good top pockets back there, nothing fancy. Inside pocket, inside's good. It actually has a little section for your hydration pack to sit in, little sleeve there, open. You've got 2 side pockets and then this front pocket here. That's good for just chucking things in there. I've got a little maps thing. I use this one for hiking in the Buttawangs, and it was packed to the brim though for a 45 litre. I mean, it was only an overnight, but I had bulkier gear back then, and yeah, so it was quite packed. Also, one of the critiques is because it's not that good quality, it doesn't have the best support, so your back can get quite sore using it. It does have this good this good zip straight down the middle though, so you can get into the middle of the pack if you need to, rather than having to dig everything out. and it does also have these bottom little, I don't know if you can see that, these bottom little lashes here that you can hook a tent onto the bottom, and a tiny little pack here that I think the rain cover came in that, but right now there's nothing in it. So that's a good one for just a little overnight or whatever. I haven't really used it in a while, but yeah, for $10, great bargain, and yeah, it was perfect for starting out hiking and just getting into it. Super cheap, got the job done. The next one, this is the one I use probably mostly now, is the Mountain Designs Trekker 65 litre. So this one's pretty massive, and it's probably almost a little too big for doing like overnight hikes or whatever. But I still like it. Like, it's better than having not enough space, I guess. You're only carrying an extra couple 100 grams if you don't fill it out. But this one's great. It's got massive pocket on the front, this lashing that you can attach stuff to. It's got obviously pocket for the hydration and these little clips so it can hang up so it's not going to pop. Lots of space inside. 65 litres, pretty huge. Top's got multiple pockets. I don't know if you can see that. Multiple pockets there, one on the back. I just got first aid stuff in the top there. And it's got this, I like this design actually. So it's got these two clips here that you can put something straight through there. So a tent, whatever you want, like trekking poles, something like that. Actually, it even has the trekking pole things on the side, but it's got this massive pocket down the bottom as well, which kind of opens up the belly of the backpack. And so if you put stuff down here that you want to get out first or get out throughout your hike, you can just unzip that rather than pulling it back open, which is super handy. It's also got these little bits on the bottom to tie stuff through, and yeah, like I said, the clips here to put stuff through that you want to carry. It's also got these awesome clips on the side that you can chuck things through, and the little tent poles, so plenty of space to attach things to. But yeah, it's obviously suited for like multi-day hikes, so I'm yet to do that and use it for that, but when I do, it'll be good. It's got great support as well, these bits, super comfy, big padding, and these bits as well. And it has this handy little section here where you can disattach from this one and go to this one depending on your height and where you want it to sit. And so that's really handy depending on like how full it is or how far up your back you want it to go. Yeah, but super comfy support. Got a bunch of straps to go across that you can pull tight, and this little section here for your hydration pack to come out of. So yeah, great pack, and I think I got it on sale down from like $300 to like $100 or something like that. So it was a great deal to get this one. First part of my cooking gear is this 360-degree little burner stove thing. I've had this for a few years now. It's the only one I've had. Does a great job, super lightweight, and I just pair it with whatever one of these I can find. Jetboil is usually an Anaconda. There may be others, like there definitely is others out there. But usually I just grab the first one I can find, sort of thing. Just screw straight on top, super lightweight. I do prefer cooking over a fire usually, so a lot of times I go hiking, I will do that. But these are great for if it's winter and you know, or summer. If it's raining and everything's wet and you can't get a fire started, or if you wake up in the morning and you can't be bothered to start a fire before you need to get going, then these are great because you just chuck it on, boil your stuff. Perfect size for like a billy or something like that. So they're great. That's what I use for cooking that's not over the fire. My stainless steel pan / plate. Now this is great. It was $5 from Kmart. It's just a very basic stainless steel plate. The good thing about this is because it's stainless steel, it just goes straight in the fire, and I can use it as a pan as well as a plate because it cools down really quickly once you take it out of the fire. I do usually use just either tongs, or sometimes I just get 2 sticks and I use the sticks to move it. It's a bit harder, but it still works. You can buy those little clamp things that you just clamp onto the side and use. Those are good, I just don't have any. But yeah, so this is great because it cuts out the necessity of having a pan and a plate. So I just chuck it in the fire, cook my thing, pull it out, and after a minute's done, yeah, I can use it as a plate because it's cooled down. The only downside is that when it's in the fire and it's quite hot, it does warp. But then when you take it out of the fire, it cools down, it goes back into shape. But as you can tell from like the time that I've had it, and it's starting to make the shape a little bit messed up, but that's okay. It still does the job. Doesn't really affect it at all. I do also sometimes, not as much anymore, but I take this little pot thingo, just because it's got a lip, and so you can have more liquids in there. This one does have a lip too, so I don't really take this as much anymore. But if you are going with multiple people and you want to cook a bigger meal or something, you need to have two things going at once. Then these are good because you can have both going at the same time. The only thing about this with cooking over the fire is you can see that I've melted some of this plastic coating here when over the fire. So yeah, if you're cooking over the fire, I just gotta be careful of that rubber section. This is also a good bit of gear that I have, my Billy. I think this was from Anaconda, it's just a Campfire brand. I don't always take this hiking because I don't always need it. If it's just me, I don't need this size, but if I'm going with a bunch of people, I'll take it. And if I'm car camping, then I'll take it. Just to be able to boil more water at once is always handy. Super lightweight, and like just go, super durable. I've just chuck it in the fire all the time, and when you take it out, just a bit of steel wool or anything abrasive, and yeah, it cleans it right up. And yeah, I've got no real critiques of it. Everything's good. This, I'm not really sure what the goes with this plastic top though, because that is plastic, but it never seems to melt when it's in the fire. So maybe it just cools down back into shape once I take it out. But yeah, so this is great. Definitely worth buying one of these. Yeah, I think I don't know, I think it might just be like aluminium, but yeah, very cheap. I think it's like $30 from Anaconda or something. Next up is my new purchase. It was a present actually for Christmas, but it's the Pathfinder SS bottle cup stove set. So it comes with a 1 litre stainless steel water bottle. Actually, I'm going to clean that up. Comes with a 1 litre stainless steel water bottle. I didn't realise there was any water in that. This is great because you can chuck it straight in the fire. And so if you fill it up with water and you want to boil that water, just boom, straight in the fire. Just take the lid off because it's plastic, and there you go, you've got a little odd shaped pot. But no, this is really good, and I just use that as my normal water bottle as well because 1 litre is a good size. So good purchase. And what comes with that as well is this nesting cup and stove. So that's just like a little grill stove thing. Chuck some coals under there or some sticks and get a fire going, and you can just chuck whatever you want on top, and it creates a little stove. So a bottle, even a pan would do well. And that just slots straight onto the bottom of this mug, which is also awesome. 700ml camping mug, and it comes with this little top as well, so you can use it as a little pot as well. So if you want to boil stuff and it's just you, or maybe you and one other person, chuck some rice, noodles, whatever you want in there. Boom. It even has markings on the inside as well, from 500 to 700, which is helpful. And usually in there as well, I will just keep some tea and coffee and whatnot, and maybe some matches as well. I took it out of there before. Just chuck it inside of there, just to save space. Then chuck it straight in there. But if you want to save more space than that, then compact as. So definitely a great purchase, and it's only like $60 or something, so definitely worth getting. Just saves a lot of time when you're only hiking one person. This is the other mug that I used to use. Looks tiny compared to the 700ml one, but this is just from Kmart. This has done me great as well. I used to chuck that straight in the fire and boil stuff in it. Yeah, so I would still use this one maybe I'll give it away to someone or something, but this is great. And it was like probably like $4 or something. So there's some good gear you can get out there if it depending on what stuff it is, but some really good cheap gear out there that'll, you know, super simple but will treat you well. So you saw before, when I go camping, I'll usually take a bag of English breakfast, green tea, some coffee bags, or I'll also take some coffee grinds in just a little plastic thing like this. Usually if it's like multiple people, I take a bigger one like this, but if it's just me, I just take these. That's got stuff in it, but I'll just take one like this size, so it's like, you know, double shot or something like that. This is my little pantry thing that I take. It just has things like oil and spices and you know, syrups and what sauces, butter, whatnot, some foil, and then just a little cutlery set in here. This one's super good, super compact, spoon, fork and a knife. It's also from Kmart, I think, a couple of years ago. Only downside is it's plastic, so yeah, you don't want to melt it at all. So maybe in the future I'll get a metal one. But yeah, that's handy for just having like spices and stuff when you're cooking. Just makes it that bit nicer, and oil especially. So yeah, it's in this little bag, nice and compact. Next up is my hydration. So as I already showed you, 1 litre bottle, super handy. I already told you about it, so I don't need to tell you again. That's what I'll be using from now on really, but I only got it recently. This is what I used to use, which is also just like a 1 litre bottle with a little what do you call that, pouch thing. This is great, nothing really special about it. I don't even know where it came from, but yeah, 1 litre bottle. It was handy because it has this on the back, so you can clip it onto anything, clip it onto your pack, your belt, whatever you want. And then you can just pop those open and take the actual bottle out rather than removing it from the where it's clipped onto. I also have a 3 litre hydration pack that I would use with this, so altogether I'd take about 4 litres. But just recently I've gotten this Sawyer filter. This is only a few little bits out of the whole pack, but but this one's super handy. So you've got a bag that you fill it up with, your filter, little cap to go on the end. There are more attachments, but yeah, these are the only ones that I'll need for when I'm going hiking, how I'll use it. So fill this up with the water, screw it on there, and then just roll it and squeeze it out there into the bottle or straight into your mouth, whatever you want to do. Yeah, so that's just helpful because you don't need to carry, well, if I'm carrying 4 litres of water, that's an extra 4 kilograms that I'm carrying around. So if I want to make my weight lighter, then I'll just get water as I go and probably only carry that 1 litre bottle around. And then I'm saving 3 kilos as I go. The biggest thing when you're doing that is that you need to know that you can get a good water source along the way. But I'm not hiking in the middle of the desert, so I'm pretty okay for that. Lastly is my knives and fire gear. So this is the one I have been using. So I've got my Firesteel here that I made. The knife that I have, I'll start off with that, it's just like the Grylls Gerber ultimate knife, whatever. Super cheap knife. It's only like $60, and you can get the new ones that aren't like Grylls for probably a similar price. This is good, doesn't get that sharp, fairly basic knife, but it is just like solid as a brick, so you can kind of do whatever with it and it won't break. It's got this pummel at the end as well, which is good for, you know, hitting whatever you need to. And it does get sharp enough to do the job, and it feels pretty good as well to hold. And so I made this little leather sheath as well out of just like spare leather parts that I had, and a little bit for it to go on top. This one did come with a tiny little Firesteel. It was like this big, but it was not very good. Like, you can start fires with it, but it's just more difficult than it needs to be because it's only this big, so you can't really get much of a like a good flow on it. This one I bought off eBay for literally $10. and then I just carved up this little handle and then glued it, drilled a hole inside, glued it in there, and that works out well. So, whoops. And so, yeah, just use that to spark. Very easy with a bigger one, and this, which is obviously, not obviously, but I reckon it's better quality than the other one, although it looks really dirty. Anyways, that's all right. So that's the knife that I have been using, but just recently I got this new knife. It's more of a pretty boy knife. It's the Elk Ridge 805 Hunter. So it is like a hunting knife, which I don't hunt, but yeah, it's a nice looking knife. Gets super sharp, comes with a good sheath as well. And yeah, so I'll be taking that out for probably just use it for more little stuff, chopping up food, and I don't know. I'm probably not gonna be hitting this into logs. Yeah, and it doesn't, this one has like a square back bit for sparking the Firesteel on. I don't mind actually just using the tip. A lot of people don't like doing that, but it as long as you don't do it really aggressively, you're not really going to damage the tip. You just have to sharpen it again. But yeah, this one doesn't have a square back to use the Firesteel with. But that's okay, because I'll just use the tip. Just be careful with it. But yeah, so that's the new knife. I really like this one. Very sharp, nice sheath. And yeah, that's it. So Firesteel. If you do have a mini one like this, like you're just starting out and you've got that sort of knife that comes with a mini one, it's definitely worth just going on eBay, getting a $10 one. Makes life so much easier to start fire with a bigger Firesteel. Although it is heavier, but that's okay. And lastly, this is what I take. There's nothing in there at the moment, but this is usually what I take, just another one of these bags like my other one, to collect tinder, just paper bark, stringy bark fibers, whatever. Chuck it in there. If you can keep it in your hiking bag, then if you're going around and everything's wet or you can't find a good source of timber, you can just pull it out of your bag and you've already got it in there. The last bit of hiking gear that I would recommend taking is insect repellent. Don't forget that. There's nothing worse than being out somewhere and just getting hammered by mozzies and not having a mozzie net or any mozzie repellent. Well, this is insected, all insects, so leeches, ticks, marsh flies, sand flies, but yeah, whatever kind of like repellent that you can get, definitely worth getting and taking places, because you never know what the bugs are going to be like there. Before I finish, I've got a few things that I forgot to do when I was unloading my pack, and I mean there's only 3 things, not a few things, but I forgot to show you the tools that I take sometimes. So first is just this saw. It's just a cheap one from Bunnings, Cyclone or whatever. I don't really often take it like in my pack, but sometimes if I'm just doing like bushcraft and it's not a long walk, I will take it. There's obviously really good folding ones that you can get. I just haven't really needed one yet, so I haven't gotten one of them. I've also got 2 different forms of axe or hatchet. So this one is my Husqvarna forest axe. It's called Limbing Axe or something like that. This one's awesome, and I actually have taken it sometimes, but it's quite heavy, and so it does add like probably a good 2 kilos to the pack. So it's fun to take this because it's also quite big and you can chop down bigger trees with it and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a lot heavier. And then I've just got this tiny little Hart Hatchet, which is just from Bunnings, and yeah, this one's not great, but it's also just like super durable, so you don't have to worry about getting any breaking or anything like that. But funnily enough, like this one's actually not that much lighter than this one. So if I was going to take either of these, I'll probably just take this one and carry the extra weight. One last thing I want to add before I finish off the video is, as you can see from the gear that I have and have had, it's not very expensive gear. I don't have anything that's crazy good quality, but you really don't need it unless you're doing really intense hiking. You know, as you can see, you can get out there with a $10 backpack and have fun. You don't need super expensive gear. It does bring more comfort the better quality gear you get, but if you're just starting off and you just want to have a crack, or just a beginner, you really don't need to break the bank on stuff. There's lots of cheap budget gear that'll get you through, but if you are, you know, doing it more frequently and you're really enjoying it and you want to put money and time into it, then it is worth buying some you know, some better quality gear. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the next one.